Hello and welcome back to my channel AJ Script Media, and in today's video we will be discussing about CSS module using Gatsby, and this will be the part 3 of our website development full course. In this tutorial you will learn the following: what is CSS module, why use it, how to use it, and lastly we will create and implement CSS module. For those who doesn't know what CSS module is, the simplest way I can describe it is you write a CSS code and you access it like a JavaScript object. Say for example, in this we have the object name dot property name or object name and then property dash name. So for example, we have a container and let's say we have a background red. So now in our index, first let's import it as styles from styles.css. And when you add the class, first styles and then that and then the name of the class name, which is container. If you have a lot of class names here, for example row and then that column, you just simply copy and paste these class names or column. Okay, so next, use camel case naming by default. Since JavaScript is using camel case by default, so does the CSS module. So for example, we have a new class which is new container. So by default, CSS module, if you access that class, it will be new container, and notice that it's using camel case, but you can still use bracket if you want. Just add open and close bracket and then the name of the class, which is container. Either way, it is working well, but however, it is better to use camel case because this is the default way of adding CSS module classes. But this is not actually a CSS file that the browser can read. This is like a build process that transforms it to a browser readable file using Webpack and Browserify. Why use CSS module? The best use of CSS module is no more class name clashes, since all classes will have unique names. Did you ever experience writing a CSS classes and then you're conscious if that class name is already existing? In some cases, you accidentally added a style to the one which is already working fine. These class name issues can make side effects, especially if you are working in a large project. So CSS module will fix this issue by transforming your classes with unique class names. Next, it is applicable to only one component where it was important. This is good since Gatsby is a React-based framework. We can take advantage of its modularity. One good example, if you have different components like button, checkbox, etc., you can add your own styles without worrying selector names. You can use the same class name to every component. Lastly, no more long class names like BEM methodology. A simple class name will work. To actually learn CSS module, why don't we dive into our project and start creating it? First, let's clean up the code. So in index.js, let's remove all this unnecessary code. Same thing with About Us page. Then let's run our Gatsby. By running this command, Gatsby develop. We're having problem here. I need to remove this because I deleted already the code. And save again. Okay, I think it's working fine now. Let's try to access in the browser. By default, it will be under localhost 8000. Okay, our index page is working fine. Let's try to update. Let's go back. Okay, it's auto reloading the page. First, we need to do is to create a new folder, and we will name it as component. And inside this component, we can add different folders. Say for example, we will start for the layout, and then inside layout, we will create a new file, layout.js. And then we will import React from React. And then we will define a new constant variable layout, and we will use arrow function, and this layout will return a div or an empty fragment, and inside that we can have our header. This is the header, and then next is the main, and then the footer, and then we will export this as layout. Basically what we did is we are preparing the layout. We will import this layout.js into our index. So whatever you add here, it will be added inside this main element. So in order to do that, we need to add a props here, children, and then inside here, let's add children. So this component, you will import this layout in index page, and then whatever you add here, it will be added as a props as children, which will be added in the layout, and it will be printed in this main element. So let's save this, and then here we need to import layout from components and layout, and then layout.js. And then now we can use this to wrap this index page, and now we can pass this content into the layout. Let's save, and let's see what will happen. Okay, as you can see, this is the header and this is the footer, and we have the index page. But I want to separate the header and the footer as a separate component. So let's create a new folder, and let's add header here. And inside here, let's create a new file, header.js. And then same thing, we need to import React. Import all as React from React. And then we need to define a new variable, header is equal to arrow function, and we will return a header. This is the header, and then we will export header. We will do the same thing under layout, so we need to import header from header.js. So instead of this header, we can add the one which we imported above by simply adding it here. So whatever the code that it will return here, it will be added in layout. For example, this is the new header. Let's see. Okay, it's updating. Now that the layout component and header component are done, we can start implementing CSS module. But first, let me show you the design that we will create. So let's first build our header. Let's go back into our code. So under layout, we need to create a new CSS module, and we can name it as layout.module.css. So Gatsby use this naming. Since the font that I use is Poppins, I need to copy from fonts.google.com. And let's search Poppins. Let's select light, and 400, medium, and bold. And then let's import it, copy the code, and then paste it here. And then let's define, these are all global scope CSS. So first let's reset all the padding and margins, and the box sizing will be border box. So let's save, and then in our layout let's import the CSS module. Now let's check in our home page. Notice here guys that the padding and margin has been reset already. So if I will remove this code and save, you will see that padding and margin has not been reset. Our code is working fine now, but we have a warning here. So let's fix that by adding a new class footer. Margin tab is equal to, and inside layout.js we can add that class name. And instead of quotation, let's add open and close bracket and styles.footer. Now the warning is gone, and see that the style we added is working fine. Like I have said, if we inspect this and check the code, you will see that the class name is changing to layout module footer, and then there are some random text and numbers. So there's no chance we will have a duplicate class name here. Now let's apply the font face. Let's add body here, and then the font family, let's copy and paste. Let's go back, and now the font is being applied. Now let's start to build the header. Let's check the design. So we have here the logo. So I need to copy. Since I am using Sketch, I can just copy SVG code and I will paste it here. I need to go to header.js, and here first I need to have a div and another div, and then here I need to paste this SVG code, and after that we need to add nav and unordered list. Inside li we need to add a tag, anchor element, and then let's add home, and let's duplicate 5 times. Services, gallery, blog, contact, and lastly about. Let's try to save. We have some error here. I think on the SVG we need to remove this and save. Okay, now the error is gone, but we have some warning in our href. Let's see what happened in our homepage. We have the logo and the navigation links. Now let's fix this warning. Actually here we need to import link from Gatsby, and instead of a tag we need to add link, and this href we need to change it to 2. So here we need to add the home link, and let's do it for all this a tag. And also we need to add it here under the logo. Let's save, and let's see if the warning will still show. We have some error here. Let's save. Now all the warnings has been gone. Let's see, and now it's working also. Now let's add some CSS code. into our layout.module.css. So first we need to have a container. We need to add max width 1200 pixel. Width will be 100% and margin will be 0 for top and bottom and auto for left and right. Let's save. Now in header.js I can import that. Since using CSS module I can import it like a JavaScript object. So I need to go back and then layout and then layout.module.css. And inside layout module.css I can just copy container. Okay, and here I can add it under class name after header and I will add container. So if I will save this, I should see that the header maximum width is 1200 pixel. In header folder, I need to create its own CSS module. So this is the good thing for CSS module and React.js because it's all modular. So I can create my own modules.css here and I can add a row here and I want to display it as flex. Justify content will be space around. And in header, I need to import it. Header.module.css. And inside this module, I want to import row. So here, I need to add class name and then row. Save. Now it's working fine, but the row, it should be space between. Okay, now I need to fix this nav. So I need to add one class here nav and then I can select UL and then display flex align items center. List style type will be none and also that nav and ULLI will be display inline block and let's see the spacing. So here the spacing is, let's say, 45 pixel. Let's say padding 10 pixel and 20 pixel for left and right, and the color should be white. And for us to check, we need to make the body temporarily. We will make it as background color. So it's 222. Okay. Now we need to apply the class we created here. So let's go into header and in nav, we need to import it first. And then under nav, we can add it as a class name. Now it's working fine. But we need to add text declaration equal to none. Just to check the spacing. So it's 30 pixels. So we need to add under row padding 30 pixel for top and bottom and 0 for left and right. Now we need to add also the correct color. So you need to copy. So when they hover this link, we can add this main color. Let's save and let's see. Okay, it's working fine. Now that we're done with the header, before we will start building the footer, I just want to explain the advantages of link instead of a tag. Normally, if you use a tag, if you click one link, it will again refresh the page. But using link doesn't need the page to refresh. It will make the website faster. So let's go into our code and let's change it to About Us. Let's save. Now if we try to click About, it will automatically redirect to About Us page without reloading the page. Now I think we can proceed in designing the footer. So first, we need to make this footer, it will move at the end even though there's no content. Because what I did right now is I manually added margin tab 200 pixel and we don't need that. So in order to do that, let's create a new class, main-container, and we will use flexbox here. And then flex direction is column. And lastly, we need to have a minimum height of 100 VH. Next, in our footer, we need to change this margin tab into auto. And then we need to change the background. So it's 111. So that's the hex code. Let's paste and save. And then we need to change the layout.js, and we need to have a new div here with the class name main container. So since the class name is main-container, by default it will become camel case, so you can add it like styles.main container. Okay, let's save. Okay, notice that the footer is at the bottom even if the index page doesn't have any content. So now we can build our footer. So same thing with the footer, we need to convert it as a component. So under layout, let's create a new folder and name it as footer. And inside footer, let's create a new file called footer.js, and here we need to import all as React from React and define a constant variable footer and arrow function, and this will return footer. This is the new footer, and then we need to export as default footer. Okay, let's save, and then we need to import it in our layout.js. Import footer from footer. Actually don't need to add the JS, and then let's replace this. Instead of this code, let's just add footer and save. Okay, but now we missed the class name, so inside this footer.js we need to import layout and then layout.module.css, and here we need to pass the class. Okay, let's save. Now it's working fine. So we need also to get the container. And let's save. We need to add the logo, so let's copy the same thing in the header, also the nav, and let's paste here. And I want to wrap this link into a new div and move it inside that div, and let's fix indentation and let's save. Okay, we need to import link, save, nav is not defined. Okay, so we need to import nav also. So from the header, but we need to go back into one folder and save. No, we did not add the header. Okay, now we have the logo and the navigation link. Now we need to make it in the center. But first, let's fix all of the design, and later we will add the CSS file. Notice that we have a little bar here. For now, let's add a new div. And inside this, let's have two span. And then we have connect with us. And here we have an ordered list. Let's make it empty for now. And then lastly, we have the copyright. Let's just copy. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then here we need to add an A tag. Let's save. Okay. Now let's make it all at the center under layout.module.css under footer. Let's first add a padding, 50 pixel for top and bottom and 0 for left and right. And we need to make it as display flex and justify content center and flex direction column. Let's save. I think what we need to do here, we need to create a new footer.module.css, and here we need to add a new footer. Notice that even if this is the same class name, it will not collide to different CSS. So let's copy what we have added here. Now let's import our footer CSS module as footer styles from footer.module.css. So now, since we need to add two classes here, we need to use template literals. So we need to add backticks, and then next will be the footer styles dot footer. Okay, let's save. Now let's check. Let's add align items center. Let's save. Now all of them are properly aligned in the center. Let's try to make our body. Let's add a color white since we already have a dark background. Now we can see all the text. Next is we need to add this border. First, let's add a class on this div. We need to add it in the footer. So first we need a class name line, and then let's make the display as flex, align items center, and margin 30 pixels for top bottom, 0 for left and right. Next is we need to have the span, and we need to add width 75 pixel and a height with 5 pixel. Next, we need to add the color of the first span. Let's add the background color and let's check the color in our sketch. Let's copy the color here, paste, and then the last child, let's make it white. Now all we have to do is import this line, footer styles, that line. Now if you save, you see that it's already applied. Here I noticed that the footer logo is a little bit small. So let's go into our design and let's copy the SVG code. And then don't forget to remove this because it will throw an error. Let's save. Now it's getting bigger. Next is we need to fix these social icons, but before that we need to add margin where this connect with us. Let's have margin top 80 pixel and then use this in this p tag. Let's save. Now to get the icons that we need in our design, let's go to React Icons. So to install, let's copy this code and let's create a new terminal and paste and hit enter to install. Now that it's done installing, let's go back and let's see how we will implement. We have a search bar. We can select what icons you want. Let's say you want to add Facebook. So I select this icon, FA Facebook, click, and then it will automatically be copied in your clipboard. And let's see how we will implement. So first we need to import and then the name of the icon and then from React Icons, FA. The FA will be the first two letters. Let's go back into our project. I need to import FA Facebook from React Icons /FA. So now copy this and paste it at the bottom in our social links as a component. Let's save. You see that we have the Facebook icon already appeared. Next, Instagram. I want this one, so I will click. It will automatically copied. Paste it here in the import. Next, let's try LinkedIn. And let's try Twitter. And then lastly, GitHub. So now I can paste it as a component. And to fix these warnings, we need to add an actual link. Let's see if the icons are showing. All the icons are showing, so we don't have issue. Now let's fix all this warning. In order to fix this warning, we need to add two attributes. First will be the role is equal to button, and next will be the area label. Okay, Let's save. Now we only have 4 problems, so let's copy and paste to all of these social media. Okay, now all the warnings has been gone, but actually we don't need GitHub. Let's try to search YouTube. So instead of GitHub, let's paste this new icon. Now we're ready to style this. So let's go back into our footer module.css and let's add new class, social. Display will be flex. Align items center. Justify content center. List style type will be none. And let's add a margin bottom 40 pixel. Next will be the social and the list. Let's add margin 5px for left and right. Play will be inline block. Padding will be 2 pixel. And the background color will be this one, default color. And then border radius 2 pixel. Let's save. So here in this UL, we need to add the class name, footer styles that social. Save. And then we need to add social LIA. Color will be white. And let's add the padding 10 pixel. And let's remove this padding here. It should be at the A tag. And display will be inline block. Let's save. We need to add margin top with 10 pixel. And let's increase the font size of our A tag. And we can use actually display flex here. Align item center. Justify content center. And then we add the width, say 45 pixel, and the height 45 pixel. So we don't need this padding at the A tag. Let's save. And let's add one more. Line height will be 1 so that it will be properly centered. No, it should be line height 0. And then we need to add hover. Let's save. Or let's do it here in the A tag. Save. Now we're almost done. Let's just fix this A tag. This should be link. And this will be 2. Privacy policy. Same here. Let's save. And let's add a new class, copyright. And let's add a color, white. Same thing with the A tag. Okay, let's save and add it here in the class name. Okay, one more thing, we need to add hover. Then here text decoration will be none. Let's see if it's almost the same. I think we just need to increase the padding here. Let's make it 70 pixel. So that's it, guys. This is the end of this tutorial. I hope you learned how to implement CSS module using Gatsby, and hope to see you again. Thank you.